What is good, y'all? It is your boy, aka Soul, Famicononline, about to fire up. We got the man Hellspawn Cosplay coming through the night, about to tell us about some cosplay, some community, and of course his developmental project, Blerd and Powerful. At a glance, what this man is doing has not only caught my attention, but inspired me to reach out to him, because I really just have to commend and applaud this brother for what he is doing for the community and the initiative that he is taking. Now, that being said, we here at Famicononline are in a very, I'm gonna say lit, but also busy time. Gerard Kenneth in the building, the Mr. Waifu Anime Bay herself. What's going on, my brother? It's good to have you with us. Thank you for coming through. Anime Academy 93, good to see you. Larry McAllister, thank you for coming through, my brother. It's good to have you with us. That being said, we are taking care of some business on our end, and we are getting down to it. Now, that said, we're getting quid pro quo, formalizing some things, getting some infrastructure, focusing on providing some more value to our community and the greater Blerd community at large, as well as the greater Black community at large. Now, keeping that in mind, I done got through all the formalities and such. How has your week been? I hope that your new year going well. I hope that your holidays was jubilous and resplendent. Yes, sir, that is correct. Add that to your vocabulary. I'm telling you right now, that's a 20-point word in Scrabble. Better believe. That said, y'all got any New Year's resolutions out there? Me personally, I've never been that guy. I always, since I was like 5 years old, thought that that was the corniest thing in the world to be like, hey, yo, new year, new me, boy. Like, I woke up on January 1st and I felt absolutely no different. Rello, stay wavy. Good to have you with us, my brother. Thank you for coming through. So, it's like, I always kind of found that it was a little weird, but I do think that it's beneficial to the people who actually apply it, put it into practice, and even those who give it a shot. You know what I mean? If you're just like, all right, this event is going to be what inspires me to start going to the gym or, eating better, I think that's ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Just at least the fact that you're trying to get it done. Blerd and Powerful, good to have you. Thank you for coming through. I'm going to be adding you up right now. Larry McAllister, that is an excellent goal, I gotta say, every time. Yes, sir, Blerd and Powerful. Oh, what is this now? Okay, there we go. My brother, how are we feeling today? It's good to have you with us.
Hold on a second.
Get yours. Oh, snap. It looks like we got some connection issues. This crying shame. All right, so with that being said, Nisha Effects, thank you for coming through. Brown Legs, good to see you. Thank you for coming through. Teddy P to G and Blerd's Eye View, always a pleasure to have you with us. My brother, how are you feeling this evening?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, 100%.
Oh, awesome. All right, I didn't know if you wanted me to go from the Hellspawn account or this one.
Honestly, go through this one because I want to give everybody in the chat the opportunity to actually go click on this drop menu right here and follow the Blerd and Powerful movement. This brother is doing a lot of incredible things for the community, helping to develop Black-owned conventions so that way we can have our own spaces where we can go out and be ourselves, venture forth, and acquire opportunities. Now, that said, my brother, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. But just a quick aside, I don't want to develop Black-owned conventions. I want to support the ones that are already there, already here. Because there are a lot of people who have already been doing a lot of work for the community, for the culture, and they're just not getting seen. They're just not getting, the exposure that you would hope. Well, they're not getting the exposure that white conventions are getting. You know, whether it be San Diego, whether it be New York Comic Con, whether it be Baltimore Comic Con, Austin Con, they're just like getting that. And you know, as someone who's been paying attention to everything for the last 5 years as a cosplayer, it just makes sense to have the institutions that are already in place get a lot of the focus, get a lot of the funding in order to expand so that the communities that they already serve can serve them better. You know,
Yeah.
but as far as my name, I'm Demetrius Holt. If you were to Google Black He-Man, you would find me. I kind of hate that simply because I don't like being identified by the color of my skin when I'm just cosplaying as a character. But as I told someone today, you have to, you know, you kind of have to go the way of the winds where it comes to marketability and how easily it can be to, for someone to find you
Yeah.
and what you're about. So you kind of have to use it, and it sucks. But what can you do? It's the society we live in. As far as all the different things that I've been doing the last 5 years, aside from cosplaying, I've been producing shorts, film shorts or documentaries that focus on our culture, that focus on cosplayers, the creativity that Black people really have, and we're just overlooked. But we talk about that all the time when we start to see like how TikTok is really built on the backs of Black people, because without our creativity, without our flavor, without our style, TikTok would not be what it is. So actually, I'm just turning this dial on, and I'm at an 11. So I'm gonna slow down for a second.
No, honestly, that has been an incredible insight into what has driven you to actually take the time out to conceive and take the initiative to actually help improve the community and this aspect of it.
Okay.
Now, that said, you as an individual are an incredibly prominent Black cosplayer. What is your experience been like there, like in that space?
um, it's been tumultuous. It's been rocky. It's been up and down because I'm a 38-year-old man that came in with a lot of different influences, a lot of different biases 5 years ago, and I needed a learning curve. I needed time to, you know, understand the lay of the land, you know, before I started like really just doing things. And I really didn't have that grasp until I got pulled to the side and said, hey, you know, you might be a nerd. You might, you know, you might be into the same fandoms as the rest of these people here, but you were in the minority as far as not having the same type of traumas or same type of issues or things that other people have experienced over their lives. And you know, you come with a package that is foreign to a lot of people who are quote unquote in the nerd community. Right. So, you know, I've had to take a step back. I've, you know, like, you know, when you first get into something, yes, I'll admit all day first and foremost that, you know, I stepped on a lot of toes coming in the way that I did because I thought that cosplay was a competitive thing. You know, I thought cosplay was, you know, as an athlete, as a former bodybuilder, because I was coming in to cosplay from bodybuilding, I thought it was, you know, a situation where, oh, look, there's contests. So let's have a competitive spirit. Let's, you know, I'm a fan of like WWE, you know, the Attitude Era and all that stuff. Like, you know, like I pop shit, you pop shit, like let's pop shit together.
Right.
And that doesn't vibe with everybody.
Not at all.
Doesn't. It doesn't. And I'm like, why are these people like this? Like, because it shouldn't be that difficult. But only thing is, I just had to end up, and I had to find my tribe, you know. But getting into cosplay was easy at first because I had the time, I had the money, I had the ideas, and I had like, you know, the lore in my mind as to how I wanted to present myself as those characters. But I didn't have the familiarity with the community because I didn't know there was a community. You know, when I got into cosplay, I just thought it was just, you know, going to a convention as a character and being, you know, who you want to be. Come to find out, there's so much more. There's so many more people. There's so many more like disciplines. There's so many different types of, you know, levels of creativity that you have to like appreciate how diverse, our niche within a niche truly is.
Right.
And it took me some time to, to get to that point. But, you know, uh, I had a lot of fun in the very beginning, just coming up with different ideas and just getting along with a lot of people.
Mm.
And then I did He-Man, I think, 14, 15 months into being a cosplayer, and things kind of changed overnight, where
Right.
a lot of people kind of just gave me a platform that I didn't know that I didn't know I had a platform. I didn't know that it was going to give me a voice. And, you know, uh, uh, I had a friend ask me, so now that you got all these people following you, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do? I mean, what do you stand for,
Right.
since you have people that's actually looking towards
Mm.
you? So, it took some time, and it wasn't until Black Panther came out when I saw the effect of seeing how regal and how intelligent, how rare it was to see Black people on a movie poster, and having children look at it and say, "That's me right there." You know what I mean? And this was 2018, and it affected me in a way, because I'm sitting thinking, like, I'm of the era where um, New Jack City and Meteor
Yeah.
Man, and you know what I mean, like that's all that we really had to look up
Right.
to, like, to be a successful Black person in America, in the eyes of the mainstream. It was like Eddie, right? It was like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah, that's not, and we really haven't had that in, like, how long? I mean, there was like a deluge of there was like a void of, like Black
Mm.
representation from like 90. Oh no, because I would say 97, 98, but then we had like The Wood and Spawn and Blade in 97, 98, and then I'm starting to think, well, Lawrence Fishburne was in The Matrix in 99. But in any case, as far as us being who we are, what we're about, not just, entities that are a part of a monolith or whatever. We didn't have anything like that until Black Panther came out, which is
Right.
terrible. So, I started thinking, like, that needs to be my platform. The proliferation of minorities within mainstream media, in order to help promote the idea that we can be more than what they have classified us to be,
Yeah.
which is the gangsters, the thugs, the hoodlums, what the slaves. So yeah, that became my mission, and I became a really big fan of Black Heroes Matter. Urias and Jason Wise, the whole situation, and I've bought a lot of his shirts. He's given me a lot of shirts, and
Right.
if you look through all of my Instagram stuff, I just hashtag Black Heroes Matter, representation matters, and been doing that for years, because that's what's made sense to me. Um, and then as time has gone along, I've had the blessing of this little boy, come into my life, and I found like a whole new different path to cosplay, and seeing the world through his eyes, or trying to introduce the fandoms, and just the idea that he can be more than what they think that he should be, like whether it be a basketball player, or whether it
Mm.
be, what I mean, just like the typical like stuff where he doesn't have to be in the trade. He can be as creative as
Right.
possible.
You do anything.
And I've had him around all the people that I've ever been creative with,
Right.
growing up. And now that he's 3, the idea of him, or for him to say, "I got an idea," is makes me smile, because he's thinking, he's processing all of it, and now he's doing his Spider-Man poses and stuff like this. I just can't help but to be excited to see where he goes with it. I'm not going to push him, but I'll
Right.
help him if he wants me to. You
Absolutely.
know. Um, but yeah, along the way, I found myself in positions to help other entities gain a little bit more notoriety. Whether it's the folks over on the press side, where they took me to San Diego Comic-Con, and I was able to give them a few extra followers, or help them get into spaces that they normally wouldn't be able to get into, because I kind of have a certain type of personality that gets me into places that I shouldn't be in, but then all of a sudden I'm in.
Hey, put that
um,
resume.
hey, you listen. It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission sometimes. And
Very true.
and
Very true, my brother.
when you when you're at San Diego, you kind of have to take that chance, you know.
Yeah.
But no, like I've done a lot that I think that I could possibly do in order to promote not only our culture but the creativity of our people and the beauty of our people. In the last couple of years, you know, the Juneteenth situation where I got a documentary made on it, and you know, it was nothing more than just to highlight how special we are as a people. You know what I mean? And you know, the fact that I could say to people, say, hey, I want you all to go talk to your grandparents and find out where you really come from. You know, like what religion, you know, what God did you did you worship before you were brought over on that boat? You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of mindset that I have. Whereas like, you know, find out what your roots are, and
Right.
then find the African deity that most resonates with you.
Hmm.
And that's how the Juneteenth cosplay shoe was born, was that people started actually like looking into their heritage.
Definitely.
And, you know, they were finding out that they were, you know, Yoruba, or they were from the Caribbean, or they might have been Haitian, you know what I mean?
Right.
And folks just embodied that. So yeah, I'm all about our people finding out who we are and embodying that to the point where nobody can stop us. You feel
Right.
me?
And then, you know, we take that and then we bring it into the new world as we know it today and become ourselves in, you know, the time and space that we exist in.
Right. Yeah, you
Word.
know, I mean, the concept's so simple,
Yeah.
but it escapes us all
It,
the time because
it's incredible.
it the concept escapes us because of the distractions.
Yeah.
You know,
Huh.
there's you know, think about it. When I say distractions, it's either greed,
Right.
it's either clout chasers, you
Right.
know, or self interests. And those are the three things that I'm not gonna say that, but you know, those are the three main things that really do derail us from accomplishing the goals for our people, for our
Right.
culture, for our you know, say our demographic. So I'm trying my best to make sure that folks know that I'm staying focused, as laser focused as Batman is on his mission.
Right.
That's where I am with this, you know. So I speak constantly. I am not in this for clout. I am not in this, you know, to just gain followers to do nothing with them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we have support that is actionable. That's what matters. We've got impact. That's what
Right.
matters. We have the ability to make something happen. That's what
We
matters.
blurred and powerful.
And
That's what
that's
matters.
what matters.
Yeah. Yes,
Exactly. It's,
sir.
you know, so many people take that dopamine shot of likes and
Right.
follows and they just stop there when we could actually do something with them. You know,
Absolutely.
and this endeavor with Blerd and Powerful is mainly to see see a sea change of black owned conventions getting the type of notoriety where our heroes like Oprah and Denzel and you know maybe Chiwetel Ejiofor, they would feel compelled to be at these spaces, not just San Diego, not just Awesome Con, not
Right.
just you know New York Comic Con. You know, they why aren't they here?
Right.
You know, with the latest situation with the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, where you know people wanted to be at that premiere, you know, and the people who needed to be at that premiere was black women, right? Black
Mhm.
women who have been celebrated, like you know, Nika Marina, Fantastic Frankie was there, and you know, I mean, like there's so many other women that should have been
Right.
there because they not only do they promote Marvel, but they, you know, they kind of like help the process on getting that movie made by
Yeah.
existing in the way that they do.
Hmm.
They were not able to be there. But the thing is, like, you know, Angela Bassett and, you know, Letitia Wright, you only see these women, you only see these heroes in these people's minds at movie premieres or at San Diego or New York Comic Con.
Right.
If we were to able to build these black spaces to the point where they would show up, you know, then our little girls our little boys would be able to see their heroes that they see on screen right there in person, the same way that you see Christopher Lloyd or Michael J. Fox at these conventions charging $250 a pop for a photo,
Right.
And people's like, oh yeah, well, I done met them. A lot of people met Stan Lee. He was there. I mean, he was at different places or whatever, but we can't get our folks that mean something to us in these spaces without trying to go to a movie premiere that's really inaccessible to us. And that's
Right.
kind of crappy. Why do we isolate ourselves from ourselves when we need ourselves in order to propel ourselves forward?
Right. It's actually very interesting because I was speaking to Jay Rich from J1 Studios and J1 Con about
Mm-hmm.
something similar to this, about about how not only our stars but stars in general don't necessarily come down to the cultural touchstone level of the community, and it's a crime shame really, because the impact that their presence would have at that in that space would be so astronomical, just for them to come down and touch the people that really are most inspired by them. It's really just something that's completely lost to right now. Like, if Angela Bassett was to come to a J1 Con, to a Blerd Con, to an Afro Comic Con, all the Black women and young girls that would be able to just bask in her energy,
Mm-hmm.
what that would do for an individual's life and their choices, it's
Right.
staggering to really think of the possibilities.
So we can't force them.
Naturally.
None of us are really in a position to ask them. So we build the space and they'll have to come. We'll build the space to shame them to come.
That's fair.
I
No, that's
mean,
a tactic.
and that's the thing. Like, we have so many people who talk about, oh yeah, my outlet or my space or whatever, my platform is for Black folks in the culture, but nothing they do moves for the culture. It seems to be is always self-interested. And when you start to see how many people are out there, really, everyone, take a step back, and everyone that's been out here for years, and are they spinning their wheels? Are they building their own brand? Like, how long does it take to build a brand? Like, in order for it to be actionable? Because people can say, yeah, I've been building a brand, and for like 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Right.
But what has that brand done? You know what I mean? Like, what real movements have you been making in order to make everything happen that you say? What is your plan?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I've been in this for 5 years. I've seen people come and go. I've seen people hit, strides, and then they end up, hitting like, astronomical size where they're working in Hollywood or whatever. And that's great for them. Not everybody has to be for the culture, but if those folks who say they're here for the community and for the culture,
right,
never seem to get there, but they always seem to make moves that are interested for them, for their own bottom line,
right,
then you're just like, well, you're not really doing anything.
Right.
Why should we support you?
Right.
Why should we support? And that's just common sense. Like, that's just someone sitting back and thinking, like, damn, like, if I'm really going to be out here doing something, then I need to be doing something that means something and makes sense.
Right.
So why not tackle the monster, which is the black-owned conventions that we already have, is not only inspiring more conventions to pop up. Like, Blamicon is a TikTok entity that is trying to get it going, right? But they need support, right? They need wisdom, they need resources,
Right.
they need to network with black-owned conventions that have already been out here. So I've already connected the owner of that convention with several other convention owners so that they can at least have that conversation so they
Right.
can go into it and plan the way that they need to,
Word.
right? When we're talking about having a plan, these people who have been doing this for, like Jason, for J1Con, 10 years, you know, he's a professional con thrower at this point, or con owner at this point, right? Why is he not bigger than just the hotel at the Showboat Hotel? I mean, I'm not saying that he's not doing his thing. He is doing his thing, but the fact that he and his wife have to take out their life savings every single year in order to help fund the convention is bullshit to me, you know? Because they just had their second kid, and me having this 3-year-old, I can just only imagine how harrowing that is to take your life savings out and bet it on people coming to a convention.
Right.
You know? So yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking like the beast to tackle is to grow these conventions. Because if we're talking about multi-sectional, and like I want you all to say, if we're talking about multi-sectional help to the entire culture in the community, it really starts with the kids, right?
Absolutely.
Think about it. If we have kids being able, who are in middle school or high school, take field trips to these conventions and meet artists,
right?
You know, not only are they meeting black artists, they're meeting black writers, you know, creatives. You know, they're getting a chance to get one-on-one time with them early on in their maturation, right?
Right.
So then we start talking about having more kids come during the week, like say maybe that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. A lot of conventions are only held on Saturdays.
Right.
If they're lucky, they might get Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
right.
or Saturday, Sunday. But if you get that weekday, then you have an opportunity to have children come meet the creatives and then leave with something in the back of their minds that they might want to explore as they get older. Right? And as they get older, they go to film school. They have like theater departments. You know, they start pumping out the stories that we actually want to see, that are not whitewashed, that are not like, you know, spun for for all of the world, but they're spun for people, but they're created for us because they're our stories, right?
Right.
That's how you solve the problem of the proliferation of minorities in mainstream media. Now, we're talking about pumping money into black-owned conventions. What does that do? It does numbers for the community as a whole. Because when I'm talking about the community, I'm talking about the community that the convention is in. I use San Diego
you mean like
as
the
a
locale?
Yeah, because if I'm using San Diego as an example,
right.
San Diego does 130,000 people per day, right? That means that the hotel industry, the restaurants, the local clubs, the local businesses, all of them get a financial boom when the convention happens.
Right.
Right? That means that the local industries have a financial boom. That can happen with all of these different communities that these conventions are in. So if we're building the black-owned conventions in the cities that they're in, like Oakland for Afro Comic Con, then and all those people come and all those stars come, then the infrastructure of the community gets help as well. It gets black dollars put into it. You know, there's so much that we can do when there's money being funneled into institutions that have already been established and that have already been successful.
Right.
There's no reason to really deviate from that if we can support them. You know, if we're sitting here talking about, yeah, we support black-owned businesses, do you realize if you put money into black-owned conventions, you're supporting multiple black-owned businesses? It's a hub.
Take that and process it real quick. You can support the entire black nerd community and the black community and the local community just by supporting black-owned conventions. How many birds can you hit with one stone?
Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Like that's, and then the other arm of it is the possible networking of all of these different entities that come in. Because when I'm planning this Blerd and Powerful networking event with the Blerd and Bougie folks and all that stuff, the conversation of having like entities like, you know, Warner Brothers or whatever have their logos, you know, up at places like these are, or like, you know, a certain like streaming service may want to pay in order, they might want to sponsor something so they can have their streaming service like have like their big logo behind all the photos that are being taken and all that stuff, because it's advertisement. Right. It's their marketing budget.
Right.
Right. As these Black-owned conventions grow, businesses can start leveraging sponsorships in order to advertise in these places because they know that people are going to be there and then find interest in these things, because if you build it, the people will come.
Absolutely.
Like it's this, the concept is so simple, it's kind of painful to sit here and think that why hasn't this been done already?
Yes.
You know, and like, I mean, a lot of people think that I'm a jerk or I'm an asshole because I either say things or do things that people might think is like, you know, taboo, but I'm sitting here with a really like emotionless, common sense mentality about this that can't help that I can't help but to invoke some emotion. Absolutely. Because I'm a little annoyed.
Yeah,
I'm a little annoyed. You know,
very objective, but at the same time, we're all human, and I think that is as much of an objective motivator as just common sense and logic. It's 100% logical to care about something that is important. So,
especially when the impact is as big as it is.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we were given the example when Black Panther came out. Everyone around the world realized that black dollars come out to be billions of dollars, right? Yeah. Okay. So why are we only focusing on major tent poles as opposed to, you know, something that we could do throughout the year to promote? Like, I was talking to this woman who has written this show, and I'm going to get more information about the show and all this, because her show is already streaming live or not, but nobody knows about it because it's a black show, you know. But but what she's looking for is places to exhibit and talk about the show to get more notoriety.
Right.
If more Black-owned conventions were able to support, you know, being able to get more of these creatives out there, then we would start to see more of an influx of like maybe Netflix buying that show and putting it on their streaming service and people watching it, loving it. You know what I mean? Like the exposure and the notoriety for people who are doing things that can change our culture is right there and right there in front of us. It's just a matter of having them being able to exhibit it so that folks can see it.
Yes.
You know, and that's the main point. Like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like I'm talking a lot because I'm kind of wired, because I've been waiting for this opportunity to just get this out there and make people realize how simple this concept truly is.
Very.
So I'm sorry. Conduct your interview, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it has been incredible just listening to it, because even from like I started off this live by saying, like, at a glance, I was really just scrolling and passing, as I often do, engaging with my community and things like that. And I see this coming from your main page, and I'm just like, oh, what have we here? And immediately it just started jogging the possibilities, just from the name and the core concepts that you get off in 2-minute videos. Sitting back and just letting you spit bars for 20 minutes like your Black Thought is like really, it went way deeper even than I had initially conceived, because like, I really have to applaud the initiative that you've put into this, the thought that you've put into this, the mind and the heart that you're going into it with, as well as like really just the fact that you're executing. You know what I'm saying? You,
Hmm.
as an individual, are, like you said, you have certain personality traits that allow you to get in spaces and to network. Now, as an individual who would like to proliferate this uh, benefit to the community, what do you think is some of that factor that individuals who are trying to big themselves up and perhaps do things for the community might be able to emulate, or to, that you would like to endow them with?
Um, Actually, I was having this conversation with somebody that I'm going to be doing an interview with in a few weeks
Okay.
today. um, okay, so what I've been finding works is that a lot of people like the idea that I'm prepared. You know,
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
see, I've been paying attention to how this whole industry works.
Right.
There's a lot of folks. There's a lot of folks who do a whole lot of the rah rah talk talk talk. Excuse me. It sounds good, but what's the actual plan? What's your end goal? What's your end game? I've got an end game that happens within 30 years. I've got a 30-year plan
Mm.
for this. You know, I'm not going to talk about it because we need to get through this first. You know,
Yes.
this first year first, right? But and it has to be some level of infrastructure to help it be self-sustaining.
Right.
Like I said, this only comes from experience, listening to people with experience, and then taking a step back and actually doing the work. A lot of
Right.
people don't do the work, but you can have all the initiative in the world, but if you don't have ways to communicate it, then you're going to find yourself in a bad spot.
Right.
So I've been finding that within this industry, in order for someone to take me seriously, I need to be able to compact whatever I'm saying within either two sentences.
Yes.
It's either two sentences or a 5 to 7 page pitch deck,
Mm.
or media, and then you need to have a media kit that has at least 1 to 2 pages of all the accomplishments that you've already
Right.
had. So that means that you need to be working already.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of crappy, but that's where you start. That's the building. Those are building blocks, right?
Right.
Um, when I say you need to have accomplishments, you need to have something that's more than just online accolades. You know
Right.
what I mean? People
Mm.
need to be able to see that if the internet went away tomorrow,
Mm.
who would you be? Would you still exist? Would your accomplishments still
Right.
exist? Like that YouTube award is cool, but if YouTube was to go away, what have you done? Who are you?
Mm.
So in my mind, like with what I've been I'm appreciative to be a part of them. But whether it be free comic book days where you're there, you're helping sell them, or you're helping, oh, not sell them, but you help giving them away. You're there as a cosplayer. Whether you're hosting like Harvest Fest, like I did last year, or 2021, you're interacting with your actual community, because there's people out there they want to say they want to conquer the world, but I'm like, how can you conquer the world, or how can you conquer the country if your own city don't know who you are?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you just have this. Let's think about the logistics behind
Yes.
this. Yeah, you could be an internet star, but again, if the internet were to go away tomorrow, who would you be? You
Right.
know. So, and when I say like you need to condense your pitch within 2 sentences or within one, I didn't know that was a thing until I met up with Aldous Hodge again at the New York premiere for Black Adam, and when I handed him the pitch deck for Blerd and Powerful, I dapped him up and I said, "Black-owned conventions could use your help," and he was like, "I'm with it. That's it. That's you know what I mean? Like that's it."
That's 7 words. That's
And
seven
and it
words.
and it's worked. It's worked out because the connections that he has and the connections that I've been able to cultivate over this last year have put me in a position to make this all happen.
Right.
You know, so between that and then being able to clearly ask or clearly articulate what your ask is or what your purpose is. That is how you're going to get people to say, I can do that, or I can't do that, but this is how I can help.
Okay.
You know, and then you take what you can get, and then you start building on that, and then you start building a coalition of people who have the same goal as you do,
Right.
and then you end up having a solid, goal that multiple people are now on, are with you,
Right.
So that's where I found success in this so far, and just like I just opened up the merch store or the shop where they've got like apparel for Blerd and Powerful.
Nice.
Again, I am going to make this absolutely clear. This is not to personally enrich myself. Okay?
Okay.
This is in order to help promote Blerd and Powerful and to keep it going.
Right.
Because a trademark costs about $550. The online presence, whether when you own the domain, that's a certain amount of money, either per year or per month. And then in order to update the website, that is a per year or per month cost. Like it's expensive to run a business. So we need to find some level of revenue in order to keep it going at a level that people will acknowledge and people will respect.
Right.
And people will buy from, because if you don't have any skin in the game, nobody's going to believe you.
Nobody. Yep, that's another thing.
There's a lot of people out there that want to get things done for the low, for on the cheap, and they don't, and they don't realize that these people are people as well. These people are out there, they're grinding, they're finding ways to make a way, or they've already found a way to make a way, and you're the one that's trying to appease them or try to appeal to them, and they can see that you're just doing the least.
Right.
They're not going to appreciate, respect, or even accept that. So why would they invest in you? So you're gonna have to put some skin in the game in order to make things happen.
My brother, that is hard-hitting information. I hope that everybody caught that. My brother, you referenced that you went to the Black Adam premiere. That you were actually there. You were part of the premiere. That said, as a cosplayer, you have had a good deal of opportunity come to you. As you spoke earlier, that was partly due to the insurgence that you got from becoming the Black He-Man. How do you manage that opportunity and the publicity that comes with it?
Listen, the opportunity came from Eric Moran. Okay, Eric Moran, the Smoke 007 on Instagram. He hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I got this opportunity to go to the Black Adam premiere. With your Hawkman and my Black Adam suit. You want to roll?" And I'm like, "Bet, I'm in." Sometimes you just gotta say yes and just have that yes mentality. But we didn't know what we would be walking into. So it's not, when it comes to situations like that, you can't be prepared in a way that you would want to be for something that you are planning. To answer your question, the best way to manage any kind of publicity that comes from that is to just take it one day at a time and realize that, yes, that's something that happened. That's something that you can use to market and promote yourself with, but it's nothing to give you a big head about.
Okay.
There's some folks out there that have opportunities that they jump in on, and they make good strides and all that, and then that becomes their entire personality.
Right.
and be like, okay, so what's the next thing you're going to do?
Right.
Is that all that you're capable of doing? Is lucking up? How can you expand and grow from that instance? Remember, you're still on the grind. You're still working every single day.
Yeah.
You are not more than any of us. So
Hmm.
why is your head so big? You haven't done anything but gain a little bit of clout. But what's that clout doing for you?
Right. 5 years even, it's not even going to be something to mention.
Right. No, not unless you have it in a highlight
Yeah.
reel that says this is what I've been able to do. I'm in places that other people haven't been. So yeah, it becomes a marketing tool,
Right.
you know. And if you look at it that way, and also looking at it a way that, what, I'm fortunate to be here. I never thought that I would be in Times Square in front of thousands of people in golden wings, on a jumbotron. But when I'm there in the moment, it doesn't seem like it. It's like, okay, I got a job to do.
Right.
I got to make sure that if people are recording, this is what they would get, so that I can hopefully find it on the internet later and then use it as a highlight reel for later on.
Hmm.
So so I guess really to answer your question, whatever publicity you get from being in a space that you didn't expect to be in, make sure that you're able to always press record,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
always able to use it as a marketing tool for something that you're trying to build on. Because those are rare opportunities, lightning about opportunities, and if you don't take advantage of it, someone else will, and you could be mad that you didn't when you could have.
Yeah. My brother, you have an abundance of wisdom that I'm very glad to be able to, help impart to the audience right now. I want to know what are some of the instances, individuals, and happenings that really started to teach you some of these lessons and where they began to click?
Okay. um, the failures of our community
Ooh, like taking drawing
between
wisdom from the experience of
listen.
others.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the most diplomatic way to say
Fair
it.
enough.
But yeah, listen, I've been in this community for 5 years, since
Oh,
2017,
okay.
but we've seen people come and go a lot.
Hmm.
We've seen people step out there and they haven't really done anything, but what they have done is make people timid on dealing with us. So if you think about Universal FanCon, you know, that
Hmm.
was a that was a huge debacle. That was something that still sticks within everyone's minds, 4 or 5 years later. The headlines from that, if you look at Universal FanCon and then let's see what the headline for that was, like, good Lord, like y'all, they pulled no punches on
Right.
talking about black folks, you know what I mean? So looking at that, looking at conventions that had poor leadership, um, and knowing the ins and outs of those entities, yeah, like I've been paying attention, and people talk to me. There's a
Hmm.
lot of, there's a if you think about it, there are different echelons within every community,
Oh,
right? But if, like, if you're if I'm I hate I don't want to classify myself as like as a top cosplayer, because I'm not. Because there's so many other cosplayers out there that have way bigger followings, and they've got, amazing cosplays and all that. But the people that I network and talk to on a daily basis are those that are convention owners, right?
hmm.
And when you start when you're in those spaces and people are talking, they're talking about what works and what doesn't work for a convention, or what works and what doesn't work for a business in general. So I'm not just talking about people starting up, podcasts, or people just starting up, merch shops or anything like that. I'm talking to people who are on a higher level than me professionally,
Hmm.
but they still see me as somewhat of an equal based on the accomplishments that I've had and the amount of time that I've had them,
Interesting.
right? So I'm still a student. I'm still listening to everything that they're saying, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes from these convention owners that I'm hearing them say without them actually saying, because a lot of people they kind of want to encrypt what they're saying without saying something specific because they never want to be screenshotted. They never want to be like, and that's smart. That's
Yes.
smart. So you have to read in between the lines, listen in between the words to get what they're saying. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people who want to be convention owners that want to run businesses within the community that just don't either A, have the acumen to do so, B, the motivation or the drive to get it done, to get what needs to be done, or C, the actual interest of the community in their minds, in their hearts, as opposed to their own self-interest. And I keep
Right.
going back to that because I've seen personally firsthand how a business entity only thinks about their bottom line, but they're masking themselves as being here for the community.
Right.
And it's really shitty.
Yeah.
So you take that and you internalize it and you realize, you say, I'm not going to be like them.
Yes.
I'm not going to be that because they fail and they never get anything done, and I'm over here doing what I can for who I can for all that I can, and I'm still getting something done piece by piece, and I'm not going to be them.
Right.
That's
On top of that, I'm sorry, but I want to add to that. That does exponentially more damage than good.
yeah,
When
yeah.
individuals come out, get it. I'm at
Because thing is, I'm having to fight the preconceived notions from people who have seen folks say they're here for the community. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I could say all day that Blerd and Powerful is not for me, but until you see the actual results of the community benefiting from it, people are going to have that level of skepticism.
Yes.
Right? So that's why Blerd and Powerful doesn't only focus on the conventions, but it focuses on the actual Blerd itself. Because like I've told you before, Blerd and Powerful is not just a name, it's an affirmation.
Absolutely.
That black power fist that is surrounded by the vestiges of all for one, no, one for all, excuse me. Yeah, it's surrounded by the vestiges of one for all. It means something to the Blerd community, because if we're all watching My Hero Academia, if we're all feeling like, we're not seen, or that we have a certain level of power within ourselves, we have to say that we're Blerd and Powerful in order to get ourselves going, and that's what helps with the merch situation. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of different facets to what I'm doing that not only helps the Blerd community with the conventions, but it also helps the Blerd entity or the individual.
Right.
Because once again, if they're able to get a t-shirt or a hoodie and they're able to put that on their chest and it be the universal sign of black power, the universal sign of solidarity, and universal sign of moving forward no matter what kind of conditions are set before us, then you not only empower your army, but you're letting them know that you got their backs. And that's where a lot of convention owners, or that's where not a lot of convention owners, but that's where a lot of people who have platforms forget or don't know how to impart onto their audience, is that not only do they need their support, but their support is also them. So that's where I'm hoping people actually go to the merch store and actually get something that makes them feel like they can go to the gym and get that workout on, or and then go home. I mean, while listening to what Cat Ewing's theme from JoJo and get the work in. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it is. But again, at the end of the day, I'm fighting against people who have done wrong in the past, and the skepticism is totally valid, and I'm not pressing up against that.
Right.
But it's just my job to just do what I can to show you that I'm not what you've seen before.
Right. And
You know,
I want to take the opportunity to ask you, because how long have you been working on Blerd and Powerful specifically?
since
Don't be afraid to say like, "Oh, this is something that started yesterday," because
no. September 28th. That was September 28th of 2022.
wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is impressive because you working out here. I see you getting it done, and I want to ask you, what is it that you're doing at this stage and level to develop Blerd and Powerful to fulfill these goals that you are trying to?
Okay. So, all right. So, Blerd and Powerful, just so that everyone knows, Blerd and Powerful came from the idea that, and it actually came from several different ideas. My sister went to a thing called the family reunion out in Virginia,
Okay.
right? And it has like a bunch of restaurateurs and chefs. Basically, it's like $4,500 for one weekend, for like, one person, one weekend type deal. And it's like all you can eat, networking. Folks were just getting it, as far as like, sharing, business practices, and it's all black chefs, black restaurant owners. Like that's what this
Wow.
was, right? I was thinking like, damn, like that sounds like a really good idea for for convention owners that just want to have like a powwow, right?
Right.
So there was that, and then back in 2019 in San Diego, Blerd and Bougie was a party that happened that was sponsored by the CW and WB that I went to, and it was black, it was fun, it had like all like the Black Lightning stars, or the Flash, like it was in Legends of Tomorrow, like it was great. We were on the yacht having a great time. Felt like it was BlerdCon at San Diego Comic-Con,
Oh.
which is something that I didn't think was a thing,
Right.
but it was there. So this year, 2022, when I went, I was looking for it, and it was not there. There was no advertisement for it. There's no marketing for it. Nothing. So I was like, damn, like I really want that party to happen again, right? But I grew up in them. I'm growing up in this era where my parents would listen to a lot of Tom Joyner, and Tom Joyner every year has this party with a purpose, right?
Okay.
And it's like you they get like a Carnival cruise ship or something like that, and like they get a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of black folks on there, and they're sponsoring for a charity, a party with a purpose.
Right.
And thinking like, damn, I really want to do this. I really want to have this party at San Diego Comic-Con, but I don't know who ran it or anything like that. But it needs to happen next year. So from July all the way up to like September, I'm sitting here thinking, how can we have a party that makes sense? Same time, I'm looking at my boy Jason, who was struggling with the whole like funding for his convention. I'm thinking like, my boy needs help. Why don't we have some way to fund these conventions? And that's when the idea started like popping in my mind. And then September 28th, I'm like, there's more to the story, but it's neither here nor there for right now. But September 28th, I started thinking like, if Blerd and Powerful is an affirmation and an offshoot of Blerd and Bougie, I need to see if Blerd and Powerful has ever existed online, ever. Hashtags or anything. And that's when I started doing the search for Blerd and Powerful on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and it didn't exist. I was like, all right, cool. So now that I've been using the hashtag, I'm like TikTok is like one of the best ways to like see that kind of analytic, to see how much usage, how many views are being used on that. Right now, I think Blerd and Powerful is at like 4.3 million views. With what I've been doing with it, as well as Blerd and Bougie, December 20th. December 20th was when Blerd and Bougie had like 29,000 views, and now they're up to like maybe 1.4 million. Nice. On TikTok. So I've been working that as well in order to give them a platform to just start marketing stuff when they're ready to go.
Nice.
But it they didn't ask me to do that, but it just makes sense. Like if I'm out here for Blerd and Powerful, I need to be out here for Blerd and Bougie. Period. You know. So the whole maturation of the idea and what I've been doing has been formulating the more I talk about it. But in order to get to what I'm doing now, there's the website of blerdandpowerful.com. The merch store is a part of it, and the Instagram page here is essentially the blog for it. Like I've been making the quick, like, well, not quick, the 5 to 6 minute videos or whatever that's talking about the process. Because we know people, we know society. If you are not transparent about the goal that you have and the processes that you're taking, people will not get behind you, you know. And this is very much of an endeavor where you need the people to be involved, you know. And that's why I'm doing as many interviews as I possibly can and letting people know that if they can't contribute to the merch store, they can at least talk about it, because that's how grassroots projects are completed. The more people talk about it, the more they start to spread that gospel, right? So if you're just sitting at the dinner table with your parents, like, yeah, you know, this dude on TikTok, this dude is just trying to like fund Black-owned conventions, and like your dad just happened to be like a lawyer that has like connections or whatever, all you gotta do is talk to him a little bit more about what good funding a Black convention can do, right? You know, within the community as a whole. And if you always go back to the kids, then you can't lose. Because if they're not, because if we're not out here for our kids, then what are we out here for? You know what I mean?
That's facts.
If you're talking to your parent, of course they're going to have that mentality that they can do something for these other kids because they did something for your punk ass. I'm sorry. That's your. I'm sorry. That's how I talk. I'm sorry, but no. I mean, but see that's how simple this concept is. In order to help people see what you're trying to get across to them, make it relatable to who they are. Every parent can relate to the point to the idea of wanting their children to have something that they did not have. You know, so I took a stroll through Walmart last month, and I just made videos of all the Black toys that was there. You know, like between the Black Panther, between, you know, the WWE stuff, like, you know, there's so many toys of color that my mom was like, damn, like, you know, that was not a thing when you were a child. Right. It was not a thing in the 90s, you know? So seeing the idea that we have the ability to grow and mature and to invest in ourselves, people need to feel that change. People need to see that it's possible. And if you have the same passion that I do, it should just exude off you. Right. Because that's exactly what you are. You're blurred and you're powerful. Yeah. You're making it happen because this is what you believe in. This is what you live every single day. You get online every single day to have to face racist. What happened?
Hey, look, he need to come back. All right, okay. We got some frames.
What happened?
Yeah, we got some. Okay, we back. My brother, please tell me that you remember where you was at.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes. Because my thing is this: whereas if you are getting online every single day, right? You are facing racists. You are facing misogynists. You are facing, you know, bigots to the point where you can't love who you want to love without somebody having something to say about it, right?
Right.
You have to have a certain level of thick skin in order to exist now. Now, I make the jokes, like, you know, of course, I make the jokes that a lot of these people in this generation would not survive the lunchroom table in my middle school because we were we were going on each other, like jokes were harsh,
Yeah.
but it was all jokes.
Right.
It was all love at the end of the day. And if you couldn't handle it, you need to go back home, lick your wounds, and find out something that could be funny, and come back the next day and fight again. The thing is, we shouldn't have to be that strong. We shouldn't have to be that resilient, but we are.
Right.
But then some people forget that they are. And that's why being blurred and powerful is not only an affirmation, but it's also a reminder. Like, we have to make sure that people, because depression is a thing.
Yes.
And sometimes, sometimes some people can pull themselves out of it, and sometimes they can't.
Right.
But when it's possible for someone else or for something that they may see online to pull themselves out of it, or to pull them out of it, then we have to afford that opportunity to them. Like, we get so many lessons from the stuff that we watch on a daily basis that teaches us that we could find power in certain symbols, right? Like, if you go back to, and I'm pulling this out of my ass right here, right now. If you go back to Spider-Man, the first Tom Holland one, when he was by himself. Which one was that called? Was it Homecoming? Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, it was Homecoming, because he was stuck underneath that rubble after the Vulture had collapsed that building on him, right? And then he looked at his mask and he said, "Come on, Spider-Man, come on, do what you need to do to get out of this, right, Spider-Man?" Like he found power in that symbol that was his mask. Now, just imagine if someone is feeling low, someone is feeling like they just can't get out of bed, right? But they have a T-shirt with the Blerd and Powerful fist on it, just hanging over their dresser, hanging over the shirt, or hanging over a chair or something. And they remember that at one point in time they didn't feel this way, and it just takes that little bit of a nudge to get that person out of that hole. Why can't we do that for each other in the slightest way possible?
Yep. No, I 100% agree. And it's actually interesting because Blerd and Powerful is something that I firmly believe. Personally, I know that the individuals that are going to further the Black community and improve our situation in the diaspora, it's not going to be certain individuals who don't necessarily I'm not have the wherewithal, the continence, the awareness, or the general intellect and intelligence to really actually make any kind of substantial change. It's going to be the Blerds. The Blerds are going to be the individuals who are going to improve our situation, because we're the ones that know how to work within the system, how to survive. We're the ones who have endured probably the most out of anyone in this, because you get flack from your own, you get flack from everybody else. It's a very difficult existence, but luckily it's one that is in its own way very dignified in its escapism and also in its virtue, because of the content that we consume is so rich with philosophy that individuals can. It's not always that way, and we hate to see it when it is. There's some of the individuals that watch movies about heroes and then aspire to be villains. But the individuals that process this information and apply it are very much so the most powerful and driving factor to improving the Black community. I hope I said that.
I think what you're saying is those that are able to process the information that's given to us, that is positive and negative, but then able to parse out the two, are the ones that are emotionally and intelligently enough. I mean, intelligently have. Well, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yes, very.
Okay, I get what.
So, and those individuals
Okay,
are
yeah,
among the Blerds.
yeah. Well, see, that's damn. Okay, so back in 2018 at BlerdCon, I was a part of a panel of folks that we were all Blerds, but we all had different upbringings.
Yes, right.
We were whether we were queer, whether we were like suffering from depression, whether we were autistic, whether we were like so many. And then there was me. I'm the guy that was on the homecoming court. I'm the guy that was like playing sports in ROTC and all that stuff. So my blurred upbringing was nowhere near the same as everyone else's on that entire panel. Um, so it is within our power to make change happen, but there are a lot of us that get in our own way, that
Yes.
that have crippling anxiety that that prevents us from being able to make the change happen because they can't communicate or articulate what they want to get out there. So some of us have to be some of us have to be that blunt instrument to break that wall, and I believe that's what my role is.
You 100%, because we takes all sorts of different minds, and what you do and who you are and your upbringing and your unique skill set very much so supports another individual who might be an individual who might be able to cure cancer, but they don't know how to, bring it to an individual and be like, yo, I got the cure for cancer. And like just having a dude that can walk out and be like, hey, yo, he got the cure for cancer.
Right. Like, and so that's the role that I've accepted in my life. Like,
Exactly.
I understand that I can't, like, someone like a film casting director hit me up the other day and was like, do you think you're ready to like be more in films and all that stuff? I'm like, it would sound great, but I realized that my superpower is in producing. I'm able to start projects and complete projects and garner support for projects. Like that's what I'm good at.
Okay.
Like, sure, I would want to be in front of the camera and be a star and all this stuff, but if I want to get something done, if I want to feel like I'm accomplishing something, I have to be something that my ego won't let me be, or that my ego has to be in another department. I gotta let someone else be the star while I get him funding so he can be the star. You don't
think that you can do both?
As at this point, with me making sure that being a dad is my number one priority, and being able to keep the lights on in my house, and keep my mortgage, like, I would love to act. I would love to do all that stuff, but doing something like producing puts me in a place where I can put other people out there and they can get that shine, but I'm still able to take care of my household because of the life that I've lived thus far.
Right.
If I was in acting from say 18 or 15 years old or something, then yeah, then I would be in that. But I'm really getting into all this stuff now at 38. I have a family to take care of, and I have to be practical to a degree.
Yes.
So I might, I understand chasing your dreams, but you have to chase your dreams in the most practical and the most efficient way possible. So if I'm being someone who's actually thought about this, you look at the Marvel universe, right?
Okay.
You got your Robert Downey Jr.'s, you got your Chris Pratt's, your Chris Evans. They're the stars, but their jobs are temporary. There's only one person, one man who's had a permanent job the entire time that the MCU has been around, and that's Kevin Feige.
Mm.
So So that man being a producer, he wakes up, goes to work, comes home, whatever family man he is, but we all know his name, and he has a steady paycheck, you know, and he makes stars. He makes really really entertaining stuff. So why are we not having more producers put people out there when they can find a steady paycheck and then still be able to be creative, you know? But yeah, no, my goal is to make sure that whatever I do, my son benefits from it. And what I'm doing writ large, it benefits not only my child, but so
Right.
many other children out there. So that's the point.
It's genuinely impressive to me because you have this opportunity before you, and it's as simple as, coming up with 2.5K to join SAG, and then from there you can completely pivot into that. But you're really staying focused on the mission and the exact, just like High Form Family said, the long game vision. So with that being said, I think that I have to applaud you for that, because you've spoken in this interview about, being for the community and being about what you're talking about and making sure that you're practicing what you preach. And
Mhm.
I think that that's something right there is just, that's it right there in the pudding. You know what I
Because the thing
mean?
is, like, you can't, you can say whatever you want about me, but I get shit done.
It's true.
I mean, and if you can say whatever you want about me, but the people who work with me, they benefit, one way or another. Someone, my homeboy, he got a $40,000 raise in his real life job from working with me and being able to show that he worked with me on this one particular project. Like, he changed jobs and got $40,000 more than what he was making beforehand. So and the only thing I could do was like, you should have went for 50. Like,
Yeah.
like, I can't help but to want to see my people win, because the thing is, like, this is what it is. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the security and knowing who they are and being happy with who they are in order to want to see other people win just like them. And it's sad, but it's the truth. Like, the whole crabs in a barrel situation is a real thing, but we have to really be vigilant on not being one of those crabs that pull each other down. So I'll be the first one to say, yo, the Nerd Apocalypse podcast, what I'm saying? Like, those are my peoples. It's been my people since like 2015. Y'all need to pay attention to them. Y'all, those nerds on Twitter, or Room Full of Blurs, or Blerd Over, or Do You Speak Geek, or Blerd's Eye View. I don't have a problem putting my people on, because they have always held me down.
Right.
And if I could pull them up with me, if I just happen to be, because if I'm a face man, if I'm somebody that's out there saying the things that they can't say or they're not in the position to say, then it's my job to put them on, because I wouldn't be in that space if it wasn't for them. Hell, the first convention that I did an interview when I first met Jason David Frank was with the Nerd Apocalypse in 2016 at Rhode Island Comic Con, and that wasn't going to happen unless I had the Nerd Apocalypse behind me, and so I'll always hold them down from till the day I die. You know what I mean? So if you are out here talking about you're for the community, or you're for the people, but yet you can't seem to help your people when you're in the position to help them,
Right.
You're really full of shit.
Damn. That's facts. Honestly, without mentioning words, that's what it is.
So if you can always say, well, Demetrius was a jerk, or Demetrius was an asshole, or Demetrius was somebody that I just had like bad energy from, or whatever. You can say all those things about me, but then you look at my results of what I've been able to get done versus what you were able to get done, if anything.
That's a nice way
You
to say
know,
it, bro.
so like people may not like me, but they benefit from what I'm doing because the results are there. You know, so again, if you have a problem with Hellspawn cosplay for whatever reason, check my record, talk to people who've actually worked with me,
Right.
you know, and see that I'm here not as just somebody that wants clicks, likes, or follows, but somebody who's doing something, who wants to do something actionable so that my kid can benefit from it. You know, so if you listen to a whole bunch of rah-rah noise or whatever, you better do your research and don't come at me sideways because I'm not the one. I'm really not. At this point, I'm not. You know, we we've done a lot of work. When I say we, I'm talking about the people who've held me down
Right.
because I haven't been doing this by myself. So the folks who have taught me stuff, the folks who have been behind me, the folks who have defended me and all this other stuff, like we have done a lot of work in order to get to where we are now. And it would be super shitty of me. It would be super terrible of all the stuff that we have seen, whether it be like Tyler Perry movies or anything that's got a lesson to be
Right.
learned from. If I was to go beyond, go and go and do a 180 from all those lessons and all the stuff that I've been talking and be a complete hypocrite
Yeah.
and not pull my people up with me, come on.
Yeah.
No. I'm too far in it now to not bring my people with me because I wouldn't be here without them.
Facts. That's facts. Listen, look,
Make no
hey,
sense.
look, these are your thoughts, man. These are your thoughts. Now we are coming to the end of, and I don't say that to just be like, oh, yo, that's what he think. No, these are the thoughts of a man who moves how you move and does what you do for people, others outside of himself. So that said, you need some PR training.
No. See, no. I
You
know
need
what
some.
not to say, but because I mean I've been good. I've
Nah,
been good.
yes, you
Um,
have. You've been great.
I don't say what I truly mean, and I don't say the names
Yeah,
like I used to. I
yeah,
used to say people's names, but no. No. Mean, I'm sticking to the
yeah.
message. I do have message discipline, and I'm happy to say that I've gotten better. Going to therapy, it works, and just just know that I know when to stop talking. But right now, I'm feeling like certain things need to be said to get
Absolutely,
certain things across to folks.
absolutely.
So yeah,
You have been walking that line immaculately throughout this interview. I do want to give you applause for that. Like
thank you.
for everything that is work, like you really do move in a very impressive manner.
Thank you.
So that said, we are at the tail end of the interview. We have about 15 minutes left, and I want to take 10 minutes and let the people get to know you a little bit more. So that being, and you're Blerd. Now you said that when you were in school, you had a bit of a different experience. What kind were you a Blerd at that time?
Yes. This is
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Oh
this
snap.
is this is oh wait, yeah. This is my room. This is stuff that I've been collecting since I was
Wow.
4. Um yeah, all this stuff from KB Toys, stuff from Ames. Um yeah, this is all stuff that I've had since I was like 4 years old.
Yo,
I mean I got the original Castle Grayskull over there. That's the original diecast Voltron, like Beast Wars, all that stuff. Like that's Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. But there,
wow.
all the Power Rangers. Well, not all of the Zords. I have the thing where I just want to get the Zordon era stuff,
Okay.
and I'm missing Titanus, the Warrior Wheel, and the In Space Zords. Those are those two. Those are the But no, yeah. So yeah, I was a Blerd. I was a Blerd in high school, middle school. I used to get beat up for wearing X-Men T-shirts when I was 7. Um, that was not fun. It was not fun. My cards. I didn't do Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I did the 93. I had 94 Flair, like X-Men and like comic, like the Marvel cards and stuff. Um, yeah, I, you got me. Yeah, might as well, because I talk about them, but I don't bring them out. Oh yeah.
Hey, yo, man,
Yeah.
no,
So
that's how it works. That is how it works.
yeah. So this is, like I said, all these cards or whatever is like,
Wow.
like, well,
And these are more collectible than like trading in interactive card game type stuff.
well, these were the cards that we had back then. Like these. When I say 93, 94, like I'm talking about 1993,
Wow.
1994. But yeah, these are like the actual comic cards, and you would get those comic packs in order to make that scene. So
That's fire.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is what we had in the early 90s. Oh shit! And like this is like these are metal. It took forever to collect all these. Look at that.
Wow. So what were you just able to find them now in the age of the internet, correct?
No, these are the original ones that I had since I was 6.
What? So wow. So you
No, these
collected
are,
these as a kid
yeah,
from
these
retail.
are them.
Retail
Yeah,
and
these
mail
are,
order?
yeah. Like this is,
Oh,
my mom and I was hunting for them. Yeah, like that was, yeah,
oh,
this is the originals. Like these are,
I'm actually
if you find it,
I feel like I insulted you by asking if you was a blur.
I mean,
That's crazy.
yeah, that's that. I mean, so there was that, and then as far as like anime is concerned, I bought, and I still have them in the other room. The entire DBZ set of subbed. They were subbed in Japanese, but they were in the VHSs. They're the videotapes. I bought them for like $200 off of eBay.
Right.
Back in 1999, and I had the Boo saga while Toonami was still showing the Vegeta saga.
Oh wow.
So I was dubbing the tapes and selling them out of my locker in high school to people.
That's
So that was
crazy.
so whenever someone says that they didn't they didn't get girls, or they weren't liked in high school because of anime, that's bullshit, because I was making money off of people
Yo,
back
you
in
was
then.
hustling.
Like, come on. Yeah, no, like I was playing Counter-Strike in the library with, back in high school, like in 2000, 2001. I was, I wasn't really good at it because I wasn't really a mouse and key guy. I'm a console guy.
Right.
So I was like,
Do you
always playing Halo and all. Yeah, I have a PlayStation 4, but I got an Xbox One. But see, thing is with me, I've never liked the online component for
okay.
PlayStation because it got hacked years ago. It used to fail all the time. So it used to crash all the time. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna stick with Xbox because there was always like Crackdown, Uno, 1 o'clock through 2 o'clock in the morning. I was always playing that. And then Halo was something that I would do LAN parties with my boys back in like say, '01, '02, and '03. But
Crackdown is a super slept on game.
Crackdown 2, horrible.
Oh,
Crackdown 3, yeah. But the first Crackdown, yeah, that was a shit.
that was a hit.
That was a shit. Um, but no, I don't play I play multiplayer games on Xbox, while I play the single player experiences on PlayStation, like Last of Us or Infamous or God of War. Those are PlayStation exclusives. I'll play that there. But Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Destiny, um, Halo. I play on Xbox. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's freaking sick. So let me ask you, what are your? Okay, I want to split this up. Who are your top 5 superheroes?
Okay, so Spawn is my number one.
Okay.
You know, that's the one I got tatted. That's the one I actually have out of the boxes. Um,
You think he could be
Spawn.
Dr. Manhattan?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Dr. Manhattan's broken. Like that. He's just.
It's always
But see,
Spawn,
but see,
though.
but see, I don't like crossing over
Okay.
universes
That's
because the different world, like people say One Punch Man would handle everybody. True, if everyone was in One Punch Man's universe.
right.
You know, if One Punch Man was to come in someone else's universe, he would have to adhere to their
Yeah.
rules. Like that's just the way things are. Rules are a factor. But I'd have to say Colossus is my number 2.
Okay.
Damn, I don't really focus on that anymore.
That's
I
fair.
don't know. I really, because I like a lot of characters, but the only ones that truly resonate with me would be Spawn, Colossus, Icon, and the rest of them aren't really heroes.
Okay.
They're not. You know, I mean, between Sub-Zero or like yeah, like they're. I mean, and then you kind of get into the anime stuff because they've been our heroes, the ones that we've been focusing on a lot lately. You know, Deku and damn, the dude from Demon Slayer just better written Naruto. So it's just yeah.
No, yeah. Okay. I got you. Yeah. So you have definitely been up on your stuff. What is okay? What's a virtue that you've pulled from some of the? I know that you've gotten a few off, but what is like a virtue from some of these shows that you've resonated with very heavily that you think have brought you to where you are today?
Again, the reason why Blerd and Powerful has the image that it has is because One for All
Mm,
kind of like One for All is a name, right? But when you think about it, there's seven people in there, right?
mm, mm.
That are pushing Deku along,
Right.
or 8. Well, no, because All Might is the 8th, but he hasn't become a vestige yet. But the wisdom, the experience, the the drive is all formulated in that power set for him to do what he needs to do
Right.
to get what he needs done to defeat One for All. I mean, All for One, right? So if if I'm taking that whole principle and that whole idea of you know one person doing all they can with the help of everyone that's ever pushed them forward,
Right.
what did I just talk about beforehand? I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people who have held me down.
Yes.
You know, so he said least favorite DC characters. I'm sorry. No, I mean, listen. My whole deal about DC and Marvel is that I relate to Marvel characters way before I even look at DC characters because Marvel characters are heroes that, or no, they're regular people who just happen to find themselves in extraordinary situations, whereas DC characters are extraordinary, godly like heroes trying to figure out how to be human, you know,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
I can't really relate to them because none of them, you never hear about how Superman is going to pay a bill. You know what I mean? You don't. But something was brought to my attention the other day when I had a conversation about Superman and Lois, where as a father, I should be able to, you know, identify with Clark trying to figure out how to be a dad and how to relate to his kids. But then at the same time, I'm not in the same position as Clark is in when, he's had these boys in front of him for years and, he's seen them grow and they're just now discovering who he is. My son knows who I am. from the jump. Like,
Mm-mm.
dad is either He-Man or he's Sub-Zero or dad is Spider-Man or something. You know what I mean? Like, my son knows me for who I am and what I am, and there's no way that he's going to have to find out on the back end who I am. So I can see how somebody could relate to that, but I can't see that. So,
Okay. Let me ask you this. This is probably going to be the last question I'm going to be able to ask you. What are some cosplays and or mashups that you want to do?
All right. All right. So just like Deadpool is one of like the character that can be in any universe, and like people cross him over with a lot of different stuff, right?
Right.
So I did the Hellspawn, the Hellspawn DeLorean,
Okay.
right? Now, at some point, I want to do a Predator, but with Spawn. Like that's kind of like one of the between that and then my Destiny Titan, because I'm main a Titan on Destiny.
Okay.
So, anything that I can customize like that, I would go with Spawn.
Okay.
I was Spawn to fuck up. Yeah, that's it. But
All right.
look at that though. Like that's dope. Like,
That is clean. I'm not going to lie to you. I remember the first time I saw that, I was just like, this is ill. If honestly, if that was how it was in the actual movies, then they might have been able to hit something.
but yeah, I think that's about it.
That's about it. Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Hellspawn Cosplay. An incredible cosplayer, an incredible father, an incredible mind and man that has been trying to do work for the community, that has very much so taken it upon himself to use his talents and his gifts to develop the space and the community and basically the demographic that we all belong to and we love. I love what he's targeting in order to achieve this, and the intent and there's another word. I want to say the means that he's going through in order to execute this. Now, my brother, thank you for coming on the show. It has been my genuine pleasure. I appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you for having me, and I'm hoping that it throw a whole lot of people off by coming from this account. But again, this is the account that matters. Like,
Yes.
I'm not trying to grow my Hellspawn, cosplay thing, because that's vanity, that's clout, that's whatever.
Right.
But this is the one that needs the support. This is the one that has the merch store attached to the link tree and all that stuff. So, take a look at it. If you think that you can support by getting something immediately, see, that's the point. That's the thing. There's a lot of people who want you to support them, but then they never give you something immediately to feel like you did something tangible. That you get something like an immediate reward. So yeah, if you support the merch store, you get something that you can wear,
Right.
and then you can start spreading the gospel.
Yep.
You're a part of the message. You are the message. You are the Blerd and Powerful. Like, it's a part of the affirmation. So just like how Black Heroes Matter, like BlackHeroesMatter.biz, I will always promote Urias and this company, because again, I would not be here if it wasn't for him.
This is actually raises one final very interesting question that I do want to ask. How can the people at home support?
Well, he said if you don't have any money, if you don't want to follow, well, you can follow. You can at least use the hashtag. But if all those things, you can just talk about it. Just talk about it. Because if you're talking about what could fuel the community, then you're talking about something that is culturally and societally important to everybody. It's
Right.
relevant. If you're talking about Black-owned conventions to somebody who doesn't even know what a convention is, you can have a whole conversation, a whole new world to open them up to. And if you're watching this, then that means that you have resources or whatever to show them what we're about, what I'm about. BlerdandPowerful.com is a thing that exists just so you can see just at a snapshot what I'm about, what I'm trying to do. And if you have specific questions, hit me up. I'll send you the pitch deck. I'll send you my progress reports. Like, I've got no problem sharing with you what I've already done in hopes that you can help me get to where I want to go, because it's not just me. I'm bringing all of us along.
Right.
You know? So, like, it's just a matter of talking about it, being about it, and then getting it done. Like, that's it. You know, I've only been doing the Blerd and Powerful thing since September 28th. And look at where we're at now with it.
Yes.
You know, because there is a real purpose, a real goal behind it that benefits everybody. Not just me, not just my son, but your kids as well. You know? And hell, if we grow these Black-owned conventions that you're already accustomed to going to, imagine seeing something like that grow in your lifetime. But then let's imagine how AwesomeCon came around in what, 2016, 2017? 2016. And it was just the lower level of the Walter E. Convention Center in DC. 2 years. It took 2 years for it to take over the entire convention center. This is where the Washington Auto Show has his exhibitions at. And it's in the one convention exploded in 2 years because of the support it was able to garner, because of what it was able to leverage. We can do that for our own people, our own businesses, if we just concentrate, stay focused, and don't get distracted.
Right. Yo, honestly, my brother, I very much appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has again been Hellspawn. I normally do my little thing at the end of here, but this is by no means the most important thing that you've heard tonight when I say that is all you get for free. AK so signing off. Yo, thank you again, my brother, for coming through. You kicked incredible amounts of knowledge. You have been, I was already sold, but now I'm locked in. You know what I mean? It was, you have been incredible and instrumental in the development of this project, which you really just conceived by your own. So I can't even, I'm at a loss for words, really. I don't even know what else I can say, my man. You got it, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Ain't no thing. Well, with that being said, everybody, that is, in fact, all you get for free. And AK Soul signing off.